Hello community, I hope you are doing good. In this discussion we will see how to modify user environment, and in case you missed previous discussion about what is user environment and how to get different data from the environment, please check link is given in the description. If you want to learn more about Odoo, you can visit the Weblands channel. Under the home screen you can see Odoo 1718 development tutorial, and right now we are working on this playlist. If you are a beginner and want to learn from the beginning, you can visit this playlist because this is the main playlist and those are the topic wise sub playlist available. Let's back to our main topic, and guys, if you didn't subscribe this channel, please subscribe, it will help me a lot. Plus you will also get the latest notification about upcoming sessions. So here how we can modify user environment, right? So there are different keywords we have to use. So first thing is let me go to here to understand more about the previous session, right? Because based on that you will get the idea. So you can see here we talked about something like this, right? The self environment itself, the cursor, the user, right? Then after exit the admin user or the companies and the context. So here like we have to also modify the user, modify the company, modify the cursor, its environment itself, or let's say modify the context. So how we can do it, right? We will see everything in this session. Okay, so first thing is I'm trying to copy this one, and simple I have we already talked about special command, right? Over there we have just inherited the partner. So here in this create method I'm going to show you environment modification. Okay, so the question is, if you want to modify the context, how you can do it, right? So we will see in this discussion. So first thing is I'm going to the terminal and I'm using the shell command. Okay, and here let's say I'm trying to create a new record. Okay, and here if you go to here in the contacts, here I have also added ID, created user and the company. Okay, now you can see here the carefully. So here I'm trying to first modify the context. Okay, before trying to modify the context, let's see what it is. Okay, so you can see here, let me remove the logs. Let me go to the sorry, not here, in the school profile. Once I click to this button, you can see here it's having a, let's say this is the context, right? It's having a dictionary format, and it's not modified by the user. If you are trying to modify directly here, it's having a frozen dictionary error message. Okay, so let's say what it inside is, like let's say the language, what is the default language user is using, then after what is the time zone. So you can see the time zone, what is that specific user ID, it says the U2, and allowed companies is 1 and 2. Okay, so something like this, it's providing the context. So now I'm trying to modify this context. Okay, let me minimize, let me open this terminal, and here I'm using like res.partner. Then after I will try to create a new record. Okay, so here let's say name simple user, simple contact. Okay, once I enter, now you can see all this print statement is visible. Why? Because we have added in the create method this print statement, right? So that's the reason I'm getting here the data, you can see here. So this is the self as a, you can see this is the static data. Then after you can see self is the res.partner as a record set, and what is inside the wells is this one, right? You can see here this one. Then after the environment, then after the cursor, the user, right? You can see the user is the one user, ID is also there, su is there, it is also administrator, so means this is the sudo user or not. Okay, then after the which company right now this user is using, the company 1, and if in case there is a multi company supported by this user, then it will also automatically get the list of companies. and then after the context, you can see here at the last. Now let's modify this one. Okay, to modify the context, right? So first thing is, you can see here, so first thing is here you can see this is env, right? res.partner. After we used here dot and the orm method we directly called, right? But before this method we have to call here with with underscore context. Okay, but let's say, let me show you one more thing. First let's check whether directly we can modify the cursor context or not. So let's self.env.context, and I'm adding here abc as a key equal to 123. Okay, so you can see here it says frozen dictionary issue, right? So we cannot set anything here directly. To change that logic, right, to modify that one, so we have to do one thing, ctx as a variable I'm using self.env.context.copy. okay, if I'm checking here ctx, I'm getting like this. All right, now what I'm doing is inside the ctx I'm passing here default underscore mobile equal to 123. Okay, so this is the mobile number. Now what I'm doing is I'm trying to create again one more record for the res partner. Okay, I'm giving the contact name is this one with contact user. Now before this create method I have to write down with underscore context and then after dot, and simple here we have to pass our own custom context. Okay, so it's have a language, it's also have a time zone, it's also have a uid plus default underscore mobile. So now you can see here, once I call the create method it will automatically call here, right? We have to focus here in the context. You can see the default context is the language, time zone, uid plus the default mobile, right? But if you check here in the contacts you cannot see that contact. So let's say if I will go to here, right, as a descending order, now you can see you cannot see here any records. So for that we must have to commit self.env.cr.commit, and now if I will refresh the screen you can see here two records is created, right? The simple contact with context user. If I open this contact you can see by default the mobile number whatsoever we provided it's automatically set here. So basically this is the context functionality. All right, so let me explain the context part first. So the context is in case you want to modify some data based on the condition, right, in whole the environment of the particular user. In this case you can use with underscore context like this. Okay, here you have to pass as a list of dictionary, that's it, and after Odoo automatically manage. Well, now if you see in a context I have passed default underscore mobile and that mobile number, how the hell it's automatically update here, right? So this is the context functionality. So whatsoever you pass field, let's say this is the mobile field. Okay, you can verify here the mobile as a field name. Now this field is the character field. Okay, if you want to create any records, right, any of the records, Odoo's created records, or like let's say the custom model, right, records, if you want to create in the context, if you pass the prefix keyword as a default underscore and the that field name and that value, right, and once you try to create a new record, so it will automatically set this value to this particular field. and so that's the reason it will automatically add here. Okay, so that is the main feature in the context. I will explain what is context and how we can also use different ways, so don't worry, but here I'm giving you the short informations about how you can also edit your current user's environment. So this is the first case, using the context. I hope you understood about the context, right? Now let's see about the user. Sorry, not like this, but self.env.user. And what is the name? If you see here, it says bot user, right? Now if I'm going to the new tab, going to the settings, going to the users, now you can see total we have like 4 users, right? Let's say this one. Now this user have only one company. So this user ID is 8, you can see here in the header, right? Now I'm going to create a new user. I'm going to create a new partner with this particular, with this user in my current user profile, which is this one. So current profile is this Odoo bot. Under this user, I'm trying to create a new record under this Weblands user. Okay. Now you can see here in the contact. All right. Now you can see whatsoever I created two different RES records, right? You can see created by who? Odoo bot. Now under the Odoo bot, I am trying to create record but from different users. So the first thing is I have to use again this one with new user. Okay. Here instead with context, I'm using here with user, and ID is the 8, right? So here we don't need to pass the record set of that particular user. Okay. So once I click, now you can see here, this is the catch. This user don't have the access rights of this res.partner. Okay. So that's the reason it throws the error message. Now again, if I'm going to here in the settings, user, and let's see the mark demo, and you can see ID is 6, right? If I will see here, I will change here 8 to the 6. Now you can see it's successfully created, right? Now here you can see instead of the 1, right, the environment also changed. This is the environment of the user 6, right? You can see here res.user 6, right? And then after, this is not the sudo user, also it's not a admin user. The allowed company right now, the single company is 1, and this user is also support 2 company, right? And here you can see UID is also changed. So here the UID still remain as 1. Why? Because this is the logged in user. Okay. So here let me commit self.env.cr.commit. If I'm going to here, and now you can see here mark demo with new user, right? So that's the main purpose of the with underscore user. I hope you understood about this topic. Now let's check about the company. Okay. Here, let's if you want to change this company env, right, you can see here self.env.company. Right now I'm using company 1, but let's say you can see here if I'm using companies, then you can see 2 and 1 is available, right? But right now my configured company is 1, but right now I want to switch 1 to 2, right? So in that case, what I can do is like self.env. Again, I'm trying to create a new record. Okay, something like this. And here, before I call any method, I have to provide with underscore company and then after dot. And here I have to simple pass the ID, not the record set. Okay, in case you pass here the record set, it will throws the error message. So in a previous Odoo versions, right, let's say 15, 14, like that, whenever you try to use with underscore company or with underscore user like that, so over there we must have to pass here the record set, not the ID. In this Odoo 18 version, we have to use only the ID of that particular record. Okay, so in my case I can use here this one plus with underscore context. Here I'm using default underscore company as a 2. Sorry, not a company but company underscore ID. Okay, here you can see the again the environment is little bit changed. You can see here it's a first user, so by default it's a sudo user, it's also admin user, but here you can see instead of the one company, now you can see it's here res.company as a 2, and multi company you can see the only the single plus in a self you can see it's also modified. This is our custom key and the value, but here you can see it's also changed, like allowed company IDs is 2 and it's created like 52 record. Let me commit. Let's see env.cr.commit. Okay, and now I will refresh the screen. You can see this record created under this company Chicago, but right now my current company is San Francisco here. Sorry, not this one, but let's say this one. You can see San Francisco, right? The similar configured company here. Okay, so you can also modify the company. Now let's not talk about from the terminal. Let me go to here in this our custom method. Okay, and now here I'm going to show you how you can also modify the environment, the new environment. So for that you have to do like with space self.pool.cursor. Okay, and you have to provide any name like new cr. Then after under the statement you have to create. Okay, here I'm going to create new record self.env.res.partner. Here we have to use with env. Okay, in a bracket what we have to do is like self dot provide here the new cr dot create new user env. Okay, let me restart the service. Here let me remove the logs and simple I will go to here in this student school. Alright, so we have any message. Oh, okay, so Pico PG execution cursor no cr. self.env cr equal to cr, and simple I will also close the bracket. Let me restart one more time. Okay, now you can see here. So this is our current statement, right? This one. You can see this one. Here you can see the second line environment, right? This one. Here this is we override here. Okay, you can see here. And here this is this one is starting from here. It's already print in this create statement, right? So this is from the res partner. Now here you can observe we directly change the environment. Okay, You can see here. Plus the cursor is also changed, right? Then after, you can see rest information is the same, right? Only the main difference is the environment and the cursor. So that is the main thing here. You can directly modify the environment of the Odoo using this self.pull.cursor as a new cursor, right? And you have to pass here inside like this using the with env. Now another and the most useful keyword right now I'm showing you, like how you can also bypass all the access rights. Okay, so self.env, here you can see this is the new model, right? Demo.school, and demo.school have a name field. Now you can see here, and I'm trying to create a new record. So for that, like I'm create here record 1. Let me restart the service. Okay, and once I click to this button, you can see here it's have access error message. Okay, why? Because this Michelle admin user don't have access of demo.school model. Okay, I just created that particular model here, but I didn't mention in the security file that particular model. Okay, you can see, you cannot see here this model demo.school. So that means nobody have any access for this model. Now there is a one case. Let's say if you want to forcefully create, or let's say forcefully you have to get the data using the ORM method or using your custom method. So in that case you can use here sudo, and that's it. Once I click here, now you can see it will automatically create the new record and without any error message. Okay, here in the search we have to also provide the sudo or else it won't be work. Okay, here record 1 and 2, and now you can see here. Okay, so like this way bypass all the access rules for the current user, and it will automatically execute from the user 1 as a bot user. I hope you understood about all these topics. So let me revise one more time. So with context we can modify the context. Okay, with user we can also modify the existing user, the logged in user. With company we can change the company. Okay, then after with env, here we can directly change the whole environment of the current logged in user. And then after the sudo, using this sudo you can also bypass all the security related access rules and it will perform all the operations. So I hope you understood about all these 5 topics to modify the Odoo logged in users environment. Okay, if you still have any doubt related to this topic, please comment below and see you in our next session.